Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me try to get the video back up. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Y'all was hanging tough. Let me see. You look at that. Y'all hanging tough. Purple, Queen, Yolanda, Sharon, Terry, Ophelia. I know all y'all. Renita. Uh, oh my Lord, y'all was hanging tough. Let me get the video back up and see whether everything is. I'm gonna just give me 1 second. Okay. Now, let me just get to find the video. Oh Lord, y'all don't know. Okay. Let me oh Lord, I tell you, it's still live. Let me see. Uh here they are right here. Let me see. I don't even know which one to go to right now. I'm just gonna jump into this one here. The first one. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and cast it right now, and when, instead of uh, I mean, let me take that down. Okay, y'all gonna see it. I'm just trying to bring it up now.
think it is unnerving for a lot of people as we've seen mass
Okay,
shootings play out all over the country, but especially when it comes to our
okay.
children and on school campuses of any
This
age,
is with
students of any age. It's tough to
Action
process.
News.
Exactly. And one of the
I'm
things
gonna
too,
just do this here
because
so I
this is
can
still such an
paste it so
active
I can
scene, we don't
know
know what the
where
situation
this was
is.
from.
We've been in contact with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to kind of get their
Can y'all
take
hear
on what
that?
this looks like. We'll be having someone come in from the Jacksonville
I
Sheriff's
hope y'all
Office
can hear
in studio
that.
to talk to us to kind of walk us through what this looks like from a law enforcement perspective. What is the first thing you do? Do you lock it down? Do you who can kind of give us an inside look at what exactly Tallahassee police officers are dealing with right now?
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier before you got on set that FSU actually does an
Ooh, this look kind of
active shooter
funky
preparedness
here.
class, and part of what they go over, it's a 1 hour course, and part of what they go over is the
This
law
looks
enforcement response, so
funky
that people know
here.
kind of what to expect. Because we see you have the campus police, you have the local police, and you also have those federal resources that will swarm that campus, and any other partner agencies that want to that can assist usually will. And so they'll be interesting to get that perspective from
Okay.
a local law enforcement officer, kind of about what we can expect to be playing out on the FSU campus for hours and days to come.
Exactly. And we have a crew of our own right now on the way. Our own state and local government
Okay.
reporter, Jake Stofan, is in the
Oh
car on the
Lord.
way to
Now I
Tallahassee. Jake, what can you tell us
okay.
about what you've been able to hear so far?
Let's hear what they saying.
Well, you guys all heard the interview I obviously did with Madison there, who's from Fleming Island, my hometown, currently at FSU. She was very close to the student union, but according to her, she actually didn't hear any of this transpire. She had just walked by the student union about 30 minutes prior, And when she got back to her dorm, she got the text alerting her that there was a danger on campus. We're coming down Mahan Drive right now. So we're getting fairly near the campus. I can tell you, we just passed a state emergency response team truck. So it seems like, not only is this going to be a law enforcement response, but also leveraging some of the emergency resources of the state as well. I'm hearing that we might be hearing from the Tallahassee Police Department and the other law enforcement agencies involved in this around 4 p.m. today. We have a location, but the time may change. I can't help but think when I was here previously, when I worked in Tallahassee, this is not the first mass shooting, even since the 2014 incident at FSU that's rocked this campus community. There was a shooting at a hot yoga studio back when I was working here that unfortunately took the lives of some FSU students. And I remember seeing the campus community come together in the aftermath of that. 3 people died. That was back in 2018. And it was a very emotional time. It was very hard for students to get through it. And that we're back here 8 years later, or 7 years later, rather, dealing with what could be an even more devastating shooting in terms of the casualty count. It's hard to comprehend, and it's unfortunate that this is, why we're coming back to Tallahassee right now.
It's a very unfortunate for that. In Tallahassee, it's a college town. It's a lot of people there when school is in session, but to have gone through that many incidents for that size of a community, that's just really heartbreaking. And you can just really hear it in Jake's
Okay,
voice, the
guys, I'm
heaviness
getting
of
ready
this.
to
And you talk
put
about
on
the investigative component. There is a mental health component to this as well.
Absolutely.
And
a
those
live
resources,
view
we've
of
already
it.
seen FAMU talking about it, even here at
Seem like we had
UNF.
missed so
And I'm
much
sure
of
more
it.
announcements will be made from FSU to make sure that students, faculty, anyone
This
impacted by
is
this will be able to
live,
get
but
those
it's not showing
resources
much.
to process
Let
this
me-
kind of tragic and devastating situation on a college campus.
Absolutely. And we're hoping to talk to former Mayor Lenny Curry here in just a moment. He's going to be calling in. He has his son is a sophomore. Oh, he is on the line right now. Mr. Curry, can you tell us a little bit, just what's gone through your head when you heard this? You have a son on campus there.
I do. I was actually just pulled in to have lunch at a restaurant, and my wife sent me a text that had the alert of an active shooter, and she let me know she couldn't get a hold of our son. She was trying to reach him via his phone, text messaging. Fortunately, when he was in middle school, I joined him on Snapchat because he's pretty quick on that, and I messaged him, and he got back to me right away and let me know that he was hunkered down in his apartment. Obviously, nightmare, not knowing what's happening, having a student on campus. And now I'm just sitting watching, wondering what's happening, and can't imagine what parents and families that either are victims or those that don't know even where their children are right now and heard from them.
Yeah, and we're so glad that your son, that you heard from him, that you were able to find that alternate way to hear from him, because that's a part of sometimes what happens in the chaos. So many people are trying to call out if they even have their phones. And Mayor Curry, I know you were in office in the aftermath of that 2014 shooting. And so fast forwarding a decade later, and to know that that community has experienced this again, what is your message to the FSU family and those in Tallahassee?
Guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn to a different news outlet, and I'll hold on to this one since but I'm trying to find one that's talking more about it. Give us a little more information. Seems like some people were injured. So that's what I'm trying to bring up. I think let me just see. Okay, Here we go. Let me just do this right quick. Okay. This is with live news. Here we go. Ooh, my voice. Okay. This is live though.
Now in custody, we do know that there are at least 6 people injured. I want to put up just this, a post from Fox 35 in Orlando saying a suspect in custody, multiple injured, reported following this active shooter incident on the campus of Florida State. Of course, we were following it very closely for the better part of an hour and a half, 2 hours now since this happened at that student union location. Again, this is just some of the scene we are watching here as it happened. You can see there the cross streets, Dewey and Tallahassee, the major thoroughfare right adjacent to this student union section. Let's take you right now out to our Fox 35 team in Orlando as they dive into this, get some perspective from a former sheriff's detective. Let's listen into this here on Live Now from Fox.
She said that they're moving the kids now with their hands up to a different location. She said they are asking them to move with their hands up, which I guess, Jamie, obviously that is just so that they, right, so the officers know that these are kids, right, just kids that are moving across campus. There's nothing to be concerned about. She said they are now taking them by bus to the Civic Center. They're in Tallahassee, and she said, I'm praying that this is now over and she'll finally be able to go home. But again, this just goes back to what you were saying, Jamie, earlier about having to secure, as you said, like a small city, which is what, Florida State campus is. It's a large area with a lot of kids.
Yeah, I mean, the hands up, we've seen that in all of these events that we've covered over the years. And, that's a student safety thing. It's a police safety thing. You just don't know, and you cannot second guess that the scene's cleared. So you have to be 100% sure all the time. And, the good thing is these students are now being bused to reunify and to decompress and hopefully to start speaking to some counselors immediately. But, keep in mind, these eye and ear witnesses, they're going to continue to go through this, guys, because they're now going to be interviewed by law enforcement as part of that crime scene. So it's a lot of trauma, 360, if you will. It's a nightmare for these students.
God bless them. Yeah, it's just frightening.
Yeah.
At Action Behavior Centers, we provide.
Hi, Mind Degree is real. Thank you for being here. I'm going to bring this back up. I'm just trying to get rid of the ads. I can't take the ads. Okay. I'm glad that you all are here. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead. I got rid of that one. This is MSNBC, one of my favorite stations. I hate to say it. It is MSNBC. Okay, here we go, guys. I got it muted for you all. Not muted. I'm going to unmute this for you all. This just happened today, a little while ago.
Of a shooting on the campus of Florida State University. Now, it is still very much a fluid situation with local police and the FBI on the scene, among other law enforcement. But here's what we know. At least 6 people have been hospitalized. No word of any fatalities. Among those 6, 1 is in critical condition. The rest are serious. 1 person has been taken into custody. Our own Tom Winter called it a relatively self-contained situation. Police have told him there are no indications as of now that this is a large-scale event. We do know that the incident happened near the campus student union. A shelter-in-place order was issued for the campus. Classes have been canceled for the day. And we just got new video. Here it is, showing the moments right after that shooting alert went out. You can see students, backpacks on, sprinting down the street as sirens blare loudly in the background and emergency responders come to the scene. There's another chilling new video. It shows the situation that unfolded inside of a campus building. lines of students walking down the hall. They've all got their hands in the air. Joining us now, MSNBC medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Here with me on set, former senior FBI official Christopher O'Leary and NBC's Emily Aketa, who has been following this story for us. Emily, bring us up to date on any other information that we know about this.
Yeah, so as you just mentioned, within the last few minutes, we are learning that one suspect is in custody. But I can tell you what is happening right now. Law enforcement continuing to go building to building, door to door, to make sure that there are no other threats and to make sure there are no other victims in this. Also happening right now, the nearby hospital continuing to actively receiving patients as we see the number of victims continue to climb. The latest number, 6 people injured, and Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare telling us that at least one person is in critical condition, the rest of those injuries in serious condition. As you mentioned, we still don't know if anyone has died in the wake of this incident that happened near the Student Union, which is the heart of this sprawling campus, nearly 500 acres in the heart of Tallahassee. The Student Union with multiple floors. It's a gathering place, a community center for not just students, but also faculty. You can see the footage showing the chaos on the scene on the ground there as students running from the scene, even seen running through traffic there. It sits between 2 pretty busy roadways. One student described seeing a student being carried out on a stretcher, she said. Also, some people being transported, carried in office chairs. This all comes since the first alert that we got from FSU, coming just right after 12 o'clock noon, 12:01, saying an active shooter has been reported in the area of Student Union. Police are on scene or on the way. Continue to seek shelter and await further instructions. Lock and stay away from all doors and windows and be prepared to take additional protective measures. In terms of those alerts, at last check, the shelter in place appears to still be intact, though, as we've reported, one person is in custody. Other universities in the area also saying they're monitoring the situation.
So, Chris, let's take these one by one, and let's start with the alleged shooter, or at least the suspect, one person taken into custody. What's happening, assuming, and we don't know anything about this person's condition, but assuming that they're able to talk to this person, what are they doing? And assuming they know the identity, what are they doing?
First of all, they're trying to positively identify the individual, who they are. Do they have an affiliation with the campus? Do they have other connections that we should be concerned about? Is there a link to terrorism, whether international or domestic? What's the ideology? What drove them to do this? Or is it a grievance that the individual had that built towards mobilization, towards violence? So they're going to be looking at that. They'll also look to interview the individual to find out if there is some kind of ongoing threat. Was he acting alone, or is this something that we should still be concerned about? Because as has been reported, there are some reports out there that there may have been more than one shooter, which is fairly common in these events because the victims tend to think there's more than one individual carrying out this violence. So I've been involved in responses to school shootings, and you're often looking for additional subjects, which is why all the law enforcement that has surged to the scene is clearing every room on that campus to, number one, look for any individuals who might also be involved, any tools that he used, and I say make an assumption that it's a he, that the shooter used during the attack, but also looking for victims or individuals just hiding and still sheltering in place.
What would they have had to know, or what do they have to know to say, law enforcement officials, to our Tom Winter, we believe the situation is contained, using that word contained?
Well, I would think they would have cleared the school in its entirety and do a secondary search. So you do an initial clear, a tactical clear, and then
of that building,
of the entire
campus
of the campus. I mean, it's a massive campus. You cannot make any assumptions in this case. Obviously, you're going to prioritize with where the incident happened, but then you're going to go out in concentric circles and look at every room that you can get access to, and it has to be, thorough.
It's highly unusual for someone not to have a footprint, either on social media or some sort of electronic footprint. How easy is it generally to get access to that kind of information once you know who the person is? Fairly easy. So again, finding out what the ideology is, that'll help drive investigators to certain social media platforms or chat rooms to find out what they were talking about. Also getting access to their actual devices, whether handheld or home computers, getting search warrants to be able to go into those things. And we can really exploit all that information and get a pretty good picture of who they are and what drove them to do this. Dr. Patel, listen, we have a major metropolitan hospital there. Talk about the training and their ability to respond to an emergency situation like this.
Yeah, Chris, sadly, this is something that we're used to, and especially in like a level 1 trauma center like Tallahassee Memorial, where we've heard that many of the victims have been taken. And that is shifting into kind of rapid disaster protocols and also coordinating with law enforcement officials. That's something that hospitals like TMH should become quickly adept at. And that happens quickly in the sense that they know that the doctors and nurses and teams responding have to triage patients in order to kind of make sure that they have a high survival rate, meaning they will quickly assess, is this the type of injury where even if they're in critical condition, that they would be able to likely have a favorable outcome, because that time spent on that patient means that that's time they can't spend on another patient. So that's actually what's happening, kind of a literally kind of minute by minute assessment of the patients, their status. And then I would just say that a lot of what happens inside the hospitals and the emergency rooms and the area around the emergency room is just everybody who can't be anywhere near the campus coming to the hospital to kind of find out if their loved one is part of the team that's been taken in, if their loved one has made any contact. And I think this is where there's that critical coordination with law enforcement. You could imagine being a friend, family, or parent that has someone at that school. You can't get in touch with that student or faculty member. You can only imagine the emotions, and you can't go near the campus, as you heard. So you do end up tending to be, a lot of what we end up doing is kind of seeing people in the waiting rooms outside the hospitals. And then what we see is kind of weeks to months later, Chris, unfortunately, all the mental health effects. And it might even be just people listening to our words right now, where this is sending shockwaves to people who have been going through this. As you know, so many mass shooting events, so many active shooter events that we've seen just in this year alone are kind of reminding people and kind of bringing up those memories.
Yeah, and it brings to mind the EMS, the emergency responders who are medically trained, because I was talking to a student earlier who was with, he estimated about 40 other students, and he said he was very calm, but not everybody who was with him was. Right. He talked about people having panic attacks. And so they are trained, obviously, in a situation like that. They're on the ground. When they went outside, he said he saw people being tended to by EMS who, I guess for better, but also for worse because of the situation, are trained to deal with these kinds of situations.
They are, and so are law enforcement, by the way. This is something that has become kind of a standard for training in law enforcement, EMS, first responders of all kinds. And you're starting to see on some schools, Chris, also having the faculty and staff trained to do the same, because it's your response. We kind of say this in disaster and trauma settings. Our ability to remain calm kind of helps everyone around us remain calm. That's a skill that you have to learn. And as you mentioned, for better or for worse, this is something that everybody who's on scene has to have experience with.
Okay, guys. Whew. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Okay. Let me see what we got going on here. This is, I just dropped a short last night, letting everybody know what was going on with the last one we just had the other day, the shooting at the Wilman Hutchinson High School in Dallas, Texas. I just dropped that one. And now we got another situation today. You never know. You never know what's going on. Back-to-back shootings, back-to-back planes falling from the sky. Oh my God. Oh my God. But also, oh guys, you know what? I was online this morning and I was watching something. And what I was watching was very disturbing to me. Very disturbing to me. It was, since I got you all here, I'm not going to hold you. It was very disturbing. It was, let me see, can I pull it up? Let me see, can I pull it up so y'all can see it? Then we'll be going. I just want to pull that up. Let me just. Let me see, can I find it? Let me look in my history. But okay, what it was basically, it was how people are not just other people, but people are being gathered, can be gathered up, should I say, and this is allegedly, can be gathered up, taken from wherever you may be standing or going, and you end up without a trial, allegedly, and you're being put on a plane, allegedly, and shipped to El Salvador prison, allegedly, to a foreign prison, that they ain't gonna let you out unless somebody tell them, okay, you can send them back. It was a mistake, you can send them back. But more than likely, you may not get back. And you then, because although you haven't committed a crime, there's no crime that you committed, but you're not going to get back. Because only way you're going to get back if somebody say, okay, send that person back. Okay? But otherwise, you just stuck. You just stuck there. Okay? And let me see, can I bring up that little short video? It's a short video. Let everybody know. If anybody didn't hear the young man, he has been, he turned himself in. He turned himself in for the William Hutchinson shooting at the high school in Dallas, Fort Worth. He was 17 years old. His name is Tracy Hayes. And he turned himself in by because his family member called a hotline for the help of urban specialists, and that's how he turned himself in through them. Called them, and then they facilitated that. And he's right now sitting in jail on a $600,000 bond. So, yeah, and he is a black young man. So I know that's devastating to his family. It's devastating to the people that was pow-powed and not knowing whether they're going to live or pass. And it's devastating for their families to have their child pow-powed like that for just going to school. Now you got the same thing for Florida. At the Florida school district, people are just being pow-powed no matter where you are these days. And that is, when I say crazy in itself, it's crazy. You don't know what to do with your kid. You don't know whether you can send them to school or whether they need to stay home with you, because they go out of here, out of your sight. They may not end up back home. You know what I mean? They may not end up back home. So that's the thing that we are having to deal with in today's society. You send your kid off, and then they may not end up back home with you. You know, that's just sad. Just sad, sad, sad.
Following breaking news from Tallahassee, Florida, where police are on the scene of a shooting at Florida State University that left multiple people injured. Right now, we know from Tallahassee Memorial Hospital that there are 6 patients, 5 serious and 1 critical. We are waiting for information on their ages and their genders. We know that an alert was sent out by the school saying the shooting happened at the student union around noon today, Eastern time. We know students are sheltering in place. All classes and activities for the rest of the day are canceled. The White House says the president has been briefed and is monitoring the situation. We have team coverage on this for you. We have CBS News senior coordinating producer for the Crime and Public Safety Unit, Anna Schechter, alongside CBS News correspondent Chanel Call, both following this for us. Let's go ahead and go first to you, Anna, with the latest that we know.
Well, you just cited those numbers. The latest confirmed information that we have from the local hospital: 6 patients, 5 in serious condition, 1 in critical condition. We've also learned that a suspect, was injured and is in custody at this time. We've seen footage of students being cleared out of buildings, but that is a large area to clear, so that process is ongoing. There are multiple local, state, and federal agents on the scene. The process of clearing that continues. The investigation has already begun into the suspect. Going to be looking at motive. We are in very early stages. This is all fluid. We are waiting to see if those numbers I cited earlier climb. But at this time, we've got 6 patients in the hospital.
Can you repeat the part about the suspect? I think that's important.
Sure. The suspect that we know of was injured and is in custody. And investigators now are going to develop a timeline looking at the minutes, hours, days, and weeks leading up to the shooting. So they're looking at motive. They're looking at how the individual obtained the weapon. And then, of course, exactly how this individual carried out the shooting. There are already eyewitness testimony coming in about hearing multiple shots around noontime at the student union at Florida State University. So obviously, police are going to want to get in touch with all those people who are posting, talking to local news organizations about what they saw and what they heard. This is all part of an investigation, and police do not want to corrupt that investigative process that will be part of a prosecutor's case that they will build against that suspect.
And that shelter-in-place order is still in place, right? Can you tell us what happens during a shelter-in-place order at a major university like this?
Absolutely. The order was to stay in your room, barricade the door, lock the windows, do not move from the place that you are in at this time. What happens in a university like this, you have multiple dorm rooms, classrooms, and what police will do is they will go room by room and clear each room. What does clear mean? They have to determine whether there is no other threat. That's part of the clearing process. They will have students, faculty, and staff raise their arms, sometimes even lift their shirts to make sure that nobody else has a weapon. And with their hands up, they will exit the room. And then if they're on a higher floor, they will descend the stairs, and there will be multiple law enforcement officials at every place to kind of guide a line of people slowly walking out. Very important for students, faculty, and staff not to run to create a situation of chaos, because that could lead to another tragedy. So far, what I have seen from footage there, students and staff are following those directives.
I know that for anybody who might just be joining us, we are following breaking news of an active shooter situation at Florida State University in Tallahassee. I know that you are about to go continue to research and see what else you can find and confirm. Can you just please, again, just go through some of your top lines?
Sure. The top line is the suspect was injured by law enforcement, is in custody at this time, likely being questioned already by investigators. There are 6
patients who were injured being treated at a local hospital. 5 are in serious condition. 1 is in critical condition. We will likely continue to hear more in the next hour or 2 about those victims. At this time, that is the information that we have confirmed.
Okay, Anna Schechter, thank you so much, senior coordinating producer for our Crime and Public Safety Unit. We appreciate that. Let us know what developments you have. I want to go now to Department of Justice correspondent Scott McFarland, who is also following this from our Washington bureau. Scott, what is the latest that you're hearing from the multiple agencies that are involved?
Yeah, we're getting the type of details with which we've become all too familiar in these shooting responses. The Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau is there. The FBI's resident agent in Tallahassee, the field office in Jacksonville. There's local law enforcement. There's state police there. There's this multi-layered law enforcement response. But some of this has such ominous echoes to things we report in far too frequently. The emergency student reunion facility is the Donald Tucker Civic Center. That's where students are urged to go if they can't get to where they're living or if they can't get to an off-campus site. The Donald Tucker Civic Center is the site of the spring commencement in a few weeks for Florida State. We also know that an alert went out to students to shelter in place, get behind locked doors if you can. We hear that all too frequently as well. That alert went out at about 12:01 p.m. Eastern time. According to our CBS News reporting, Lindsay, the Tallahassee Police Department had scheduled for 12 p.m. today an emergency drill about which they notified the campus and broader community. An emergency drill that would have, quoting here, loud bangs, explosions, and sirens, which could potentially have caused some people to conflate the drill they were notified about with the reality of the response to this mass shooting. Then you heard what President Trump said while addressing the press in the Oval Office. He said, "It's a shame horrible things like this take place," and that he'll speak more about it at a later time or later date. The FBI director, the U.S. Attorney General have all been notified and briefed. So is the Secretary of Education and directors of other relevant agencies.
Scott, I know that we at this point don't have any connection between this announced training exercise and the shooting. There's no link that we know of at this point, but it certainly does, and I'm sure you have the journalistic mind where questions are constantly pinging in your brain, that yes, on one hand, of course, they have to announce things like this because you don't want to spook the public. You don't want to cause panic if they're hearing or seeing things. But on the other hand, you have somebody who could have nefarious motivations who could be seeing a public alert like this.
Yeah, it's a best practice to notify when you're going to do a drill. Goodness, we get so many of them here in Washington, D.C. with the Capitol and the White House complex and several dozen law enforcement agencies. They alert you if there's going to be aircraft flying overhead or sirens so that you don't misinterpret it for a real emergency. There seems to be a rather troubling coincidence today where the alert went out for a 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. drill in which there'd be loud bangs and sirens and noise from a law enforcement training exercise within a few miles of where the actual response happened. And we do know that emergency message was sent to the campus community. In fact, it's actually now posted on the Tallahassee Police Department Facebook page. This was available to anybody and could have caused some initial confusion, but just judging by the number of law enforcement agencies that say they have a foothold there on the campus, from state, locals, and feds, there's obviously a very vibrant law enforcement presence on the campus now.
Scott, earlier in our CBS News special report, you essentially said that lunchtime would be rush hour for the student union. Anyone who's stepped foot on a university campus can certainly agree with that statement. But can you elaborate again on this student union in proximity to the rest of the university and what you know about the layout of this campus?
The student union is going to be where you want it to be, right in the center of campus, where everybody can congregate. Student unions have what you need at the lunch hour. Lunch. But also, this is one of those days, right, on a college campus. It's a Thursday afternoon in the brilliant sun in Florida. You're going to have any number of students outside, not in their dorms, out and about. You're going to have visiting students there for tours. And we've heard reports of tour groups or people on tours being nearby, as you'd expect, late in the semester on a Thursday. And this all comes back of the napkin math about 15 days until the spring commencement. We're near the end of the semester when everybody is, on campus and active.
Okay, guys. Okay. Let me just say this. We know that the shooter is in custody. He has been wounded, by the officers, but he is in custody. And they're just, the campus is closed for the day. They shut the campus down for the rest of today. About 6 people, I think it was 6 people that got injured, and one critical, and the other 5 is serious. And so I think the police department and everyone that's working the scene got everything under control. They're just trying to make sure everything is clear and stuff. So, whew, guys, it's another one for us. Okay. Hi, Doreen. Good afternoon to you as well. We just got through um, watching an live scene from Florida State University, where we had an active shooter on campus. Um, as I said before, all the students was ordered to shelter in place at the university. The shooter has been, he is in custody. He is wounded. He is wounded by officers allegedly, and um, the school, the campus is going to be shut down for the rest of today. And so, I've tried to bring it to you as quickly as possible. And I am truly sorry about the mishap this morning trying to get it started. But let me see if something new coming across her desk.
Civic Center as the student reunification point. How does that work when there's a current shelter in place order?
Yeah, I think the reunification points are typically for students who may not be able to get access to where they initially were, or those looking for a safe place to congregate. Those often work in synchronization with lockdown orders.
Okay.
Can't speak to the volume of people going there, but the public announcement was noteworthy. And so too are all those alerts, aren't they? You hear about these alerts that go out to people's phones in a way that we never had when we were college age.
Yeah, we didn't have those. But I'm going to go ahead and end, but anything else pop up, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what may happen from now. Okay. So if anything else happened today, unexpectedly breaking news, I will be bringing it to you. And I do want to go live sometime today to talk about Atlanta housewives. Okay, that's what I do want to do. I want to go live to talk about that because some of the stuff on it, I'm very disappointed with some people on there and the way that they're acting. Some people is too old to be acting that way, and so I do want to talk about that. What's going on Atlanta Housewife? Okay, so guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it from here. Thank you all for being here and showing up and supporting what's going on with me. Because when I bring you something, I'm bringing it. I try to bring you all stuff that's going on around the world, and what happens to everyday people. And sometimes it may be something you may be involved in that in some way, or a family member may be in one of these incidents, like a school shooting or something may be going on. So, and one of our own, Linda Gamble, was her family member. We still want to send out prayers for Linda Gamble. All right. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. And we're going to go ahead and end for there. And thank you, Miss Butter. Thank you for coming in. I always try to bring y'all something new that's going on in the world because, the soap opera people, not the soap opera, what do you call it? Reality people on reality TV, they're gonna always be doing what they be doing, creating drama, drama. Okay, but but I do want to talk about Atlanta Housewives. So I'm gonna bring that. I've been dropping little shorts on them, but and I did do a video on um, what's her name? Hmm, who? Oh, I forgot the girl's name. Um, Quad. I had to think what was that name? Quad. So, but I'll catch up with you all later. Y'all see me when I drop a live. You never know when I may go live, but you know I'm gonna go live. There's something really happening uh, uh, to real people like this, and what happened over in Dallas and things like that. You know, Pinkie is going to be covering that story. If a plane is falling from the sky, Pinkie is going to be covering it. Okay, so y'all know, be looking for me. Looking for me. If you see it on one of my channels, if you see one of my channels going live, hop on there. Whether you're subscribed to it or not, hop on there and then subscribe to it at the same time. Okay, because either way it goes, you're gonna be with me. Okay. Thank you guys, and you all have a wonderful day. And I'll let you know when I'm gonna go. Well, I can't let you know. I just dropped the link. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Love you. Bye bye.